Hey, there we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Cubist. I am Bill Corey, and I am the Cubist. And this is the new attempt, 2.0. Getting my stuff together. Everybody can hear me, hopefully. And let's see, there's that. So there's a Q&A. Why is that disabled when I enabled it? Anyway, yeah, so this is my attempt at giving this another shot. And hopefully I can do the idea here for those of you keeping score at home. Oh, that's going to annoy me. The idea here is that I am going to do a weekly show on YouTube as a video and then rip the audio to an audio podcast version. So, hey, we got it.
He made it.
Man, so many technical difficulties. Well, this is what happens when people suddenly stop with certain things and say, oh, no, we don't want to support that anymore. So welcome to the show, Brandon Kemp from the What Did You Play This Week podcast thing. How's it going?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, Bill?
I am excellent. I'm excited because this is actually working. We're about
It is working.
We're about 9 minutes late from where we wanted to start the show. But
hey, that's not bad for
I was gonna say, for me, that's amazing because I used to tell people that I was technologically savvy, and then I smartened up and I realized that was just a flat out lie.
Oh.
And really all that did is telling people that just encouraged my parents and whatnot to have me come over and program their VCRs because they thought I was a guru.
So you know, do these things. Come on, help me out here.
Yeah. Oh, you know about electronics? Well, I haven't been able to set the clock on my microwave since 1997.
That's about right.
That sounds like something that I would have made up, but that's actually a true story. At one point in time, a certain older gentleman in my life made the mistake of telling me that he needed help with his microwave. And what he wanted, he thought he couldn't get it to cook because he kept hitting clock and then an amount of time. And all he was doing was changing the clock on his microwave over and over and over again and never actually cooked a thing. It was great. There you go. All right. So for those of you that are new to the Cubist, you won't notice a darn thing. But those of you that are not new, you will notice that this is going to be a lot less polished. This is intentionally going to be kind of a more fly by the seat of our pants kind of show. And the reason for that is because the reason that the Cubist failed last time, well, not failed. It didn't fail.
It didn't fail.
It didn't fail. I gave up. But the reason why is because editing, I am such a perfectionist when it comes to editing, and I just ran out of time is really what it came down to. It was just such a drain on me to do all the editing that I wanted to do to make the audio perfect. And then when Rich Summer, friend of the show, Rich, relaunched Cardboard, and he basically gave a big speech about how, he had to let go the idea of being a perfectionist and the editing. And oh my, Rich did that sing to me. When I heard Rich say that, I was like, yes.
It's easy to say that when you sound as good as he does.
Yeah, that's true. He has such, the guy's got charisma for days. It's actually almost annoying how pleasant he is to listen to. Don't tell him that I said, hi, Rich, how's it going? I'm sure he's we love you, Rich, but we hate you also slightly for being that charismatic. So screw you. No, but so anyway, but when he gave that whole speech about how he wanted to be less focused on perfection and just put out the content, all I could think to myself is yes. That's exactly how I felt. And I had set a self-imposed bar way too high on the Cubist the first time around. I was spending, I don't know. We'll talk more about that in the main segment. Because our topic for today is podcasting. So we're going to talk more about podcasting and how it relates to the board game universe, and we'll come back to that in a little bit. So we're going to stick with the same sort of general format as the original Cubist. So we're going to start off with stuff we've been playing, and as the guy that runs the "What Did You Play This Week" podcast thing, I expect you to have excellent content for me here.
I talked about it yesterday on the show already, but because I haven't played anything since Sunday.
Oh, sure.
I was going to say another one. We'll talk about that later. Never mind.
Right.
What have I been playing lately? We've played Harry Potter, the Hogwarts battle game.
Really?
The deck builder.
Okay.
Yeah. We picked that up, or my brother-in-law picked that up at Gen Con. It was like his one fly by the seat of your pants. I'm going to overspend on something so I can have it before everyone else thing.
Gotcha. Okay.
We played it there. So.
If you had to give somebody a 1-minute sales pitch, how does it sort of play?
How does it play, or should I just say, do you like Harry Potter?
Okay.
Do you like deck builders?
Is it a very standard, like almost Dominion-esque kind of deck builder?
It is. It's a very basic deck builder, even so much as that you're not going to have any ability to cull your deck. It's just straightforward.
Okay.
It's kind of reminds my wife a little bit of Marvel Legendary.
Okay.
In that you have villains that you're going to be fighting, and you're also going to have the villains are trying to take over the locations. So you have 3 locations that you're trying to save. If the villains take over the locations, you lose.
Okay.
Simple as that.
Sure.
And just like any other deck builder, you start with a hand of 10 cards. They're basic. You got your influence, which you're going to buy other cards, which, your cool spells, your cool allies, and your cool, other things.
Gotcha.
And you're also going to have attack, of course, to beat up on the bad guys.
Absolutely. Okay.
So, yep, it's basic just like that. The twist kind of is before you start your play on your turn, there's a deck of cards, and I'm going to forget what it's called, but I think it's the Dark Arts cards. And I'm horrible with the theme because I will admit I've only seen the first Harry Potter movie once.
Oh wow! So you're not a Potter guy.
No,
I'm
not a Potter guy, and I've read half the first book and quit. So.
Oh wow.
So
you are about as far from the target audience for this game as humanly possible.
I am, but I had fun with it. But yeah, so you got the Dark Arts cards, and they just do bad things to you. They add bad things to the location, which is what the villains are trying to do. They hurt you. They cause damage to the players. They cause you to discard cards, and just things like that.
Okay.
So you do that, and you play your hand, and you just go around like that. And it's a cooperative deck builder, so you're all working together.
Gotcha. All right.
If you like the theme of Harry Potter, it's going to be a hit. I don't think you can go wrong.
Okay.
If you don't, and you are a gamer,
so that's you.
It might not be the greatest thing in the world.
Gotcha. All right. So on the Cubist rating scale, which are the patented Cubist rating scale, which is either buy it, it needs to be in your collection, play it, it's good, but you don't necessarily need to own it. Mm-hmm. Forget it, something you don't really care if you ever play again, but it also isn't going to hurt you, right? Yeah. Like it's not something where you will be angry. Or burn it, I never want to play this piece of garbage again. Where does it land for you?
It's going to be a play it for most everybody. It's going to be a buy it for those Harry Potter fanatics.
Okay.
And that's really where it's going to fall. It's not going to hurt anybody or offend anybody to play it. You're not going to say, this is the worst thing since.
Sure. So it's definitely not a burn it.
It's not a burn it.
Okay. Got it.
I would
say
it
sounds like it. All right. Even if you're not big into the theme.
Yeah. Because somebody's going to be big into the theme that's with you.
Okay.
And it'll make it a good time. I would not buy it if it was me.
Okay.
Because I'm not going to spend $50 on it.
Sure. Well, and especially if there are other deck builders that scratch the same kind of itch. Yep. I mean, if this is not unique really in any way, then that makes perfect sense. Okay, very cool.
There is one unique thing to it in that it does have, it kind of goes through the movies. So as you play, you progress from game 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, however many movies there are.
8.
So, 8. So
7 books, 8 movies. Got it.
So you start with game 1, which I think my brother-in-law told me, if you lose game 1, just pack it up, sell it, never play a game again.
Because it's that easy.
Yeah.
If you lose that, you suck. All right.
Yeah. So then it just progressively adds more to it. So.
Sure. Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. All right. So it sounds like a solid play. It. Very cool.
Mhm.
I I'm in the process of moving. Well, actually, I think technically I have already moved.
Yes.
You
I
are,
can see shelves.
yes, I am seated in front of the only part of the new apartment that is even remotely looks like a home. Like this is it. Is everything else is boxes for days all throughout everything. There's no there are like pathways between the boxes to get to the essential living portions of the house, and other than that, everything is boxes. So this is about the only place that I'm sitting, which means I haven't done a whole lot of gaming, but I also haven't recorded a whole lot of podcasts in the last year and a half. So I feel like I've got a little bit of a backlog to talk about here.
There you go.
And the one that I think I want to talk about first, and I borrowed a couple of games from people because they were games that I played once, and I'm like, ooh, I really want to try this again. And the biggest one of those is Food Chain Magnate, the Splatterspiel, the big heavy dog from last year.
Yes.
Have you played this yet?
I have not even touched Food Chain Magnate.
Okay.
Is it Magnet or Magnate?
I think it's Magnet. I mean, it looks like Magnate, but I believe you would pronounce it Magnet.
Magnet. Okay.
Okay, so the basic idea of the game is that each player is starting a fast food chain, and you are trying to make the most money you can, but you're doing so by creating demand amongst potential customers. So you lay out a tile tableau that is the neighborhood, okay? And it'll have a certain number of houses on the different tiles, and each of those houses is a sales opportunity. So the idea then is you will use various forms of advertising to generate demand in those houses. And then you'll use your restaurants and cards, and I'll come back to the cards in a second, to generate the things to fulfill those demands. Okay, so that's the basic idea is generate demand and then supply it. Okay. Here is the things that the weird thing about Food Chain Magnate is that the board is very important because there's sort of an area control feel to it, in that if I put an advertising thing here that adjusts these places, I've sort of controlled that space, for lack of a better term. But the game really revolves around these role cards. They're like people, okay? And you have to basically form sort of a corporate org chart of them. So each card is a person that will do a job. This guy might be an advertiser that'll put up a billboard. This guy might be your burger cook, so he'll make burgers at your restaurants to supply demand. This dude might be a discount manager that will reduce the prices of all of your goods, so that way people want to buy your stuff instead of somebody else's, so and so forth.
Okay.
And you have a certain number of, and some people are going to be managers that will let you play more people below them. And in a weird sort of way, those cards feel a little bit like a deck builder, because you'll be hiring those cards out of a common stack and adding them to your hand of cards. So basically you have your whole, think of it like a deck builder, but you have your whole deck in your hand every turn. Okay. You see what I mean? So you'll be customizing your stack of cards, but you can choose from all of them every turn as long as you have the ability to play them.
Okay.
Okay. Yep. That's sort of the engine that drives everything, is that those cards. So the cards that you hire, you're hiring, I think they're called, they're like hiring or recruiting girls, I think they are. And it's very like 50s
diner kind of.
Yeah, 50 diner sort of mentality, which means it's girls that, cute girls in short dresses that are hiring people, whereas it's men with cigars that are running things. It's very tongue in cheek. But those cards are effectively the engine that drives the entire game. The other half of the game, so I've described the main mechanics, but what you're trying to do combines sort of like an 18xx game and your Xbox/PlayStation achievement system. Okay. And that's a really weird combo, and I agree. The 18xx part is because you have a bank that has X amount of dollars at the beginning of the game. And this is how almost all the 18xx games that I've ever played work. There's X amount of money in the bank, and when the bank breaks, that's what triggers the end of the game. Yeah. So you have It's whoever's going to get the biggest piece of that pie. That's how you determine the winner. The achievement system is there are a whole bunch of, I think they call them milestones. I don't remember off the top of my head. They're basically achievements. The first person to do this, the first person to do that, will get a card that will give you some sort of special ability.
Okay.
And that's the other half of how you customize your strategy, is you're trying to chase after these particular milestones that'll let you do different and better things, give you advantages. Like if you're the first person to market burgers, like to do an advertising campaign for burgers, then all of your burgers will sell better because you're the home of the burger.
Okay.
If you're the first person to hire a certain number of people, you might get a discount on wages later on because you got to pay all these people that you give jobs to and so on and so forth. So there's that weird sort of achievement system married with a deck builder, married with a sort of an area majority 18xx kind of hybrid thing. It's a very weird combination of stuff.
Okay.
And it totally works. It doesn't look like it should. Like as you're playing it, it's very overwhelming for about the first turn and a half.
Okay.
And
yeah,
so far, and this seems like how every Splatterspiel game is in the universe, right? Like, is there just big, heavy bricks around your neck until that moment when you go, oh, and you have your little light bulb moment? This game is that in spades. It's one of those where you'll have your light bulb moment, and then all of a sudden everything makes perfect sense, and all you want to do is play it 6 more times so you can figure out what the hell you did wrong.
Yeah.
That's Food Chain Magnate.
Very cool.
It's a buy it.
It's a buy it.
Well,
At
if you're rich,
$100.
that's where. See, there was a ... at the end there. It's probably a play it for the average. Look, here's the deal. If you can see yourself spending, if you bought the collector's version of Small World, or the Treasure Chest Catan, or the giant-sized Takinoko, or if you buy any of those, the 10th anniversary Ticket to Ride, even if you bought any of those crazy big expensive games, then there's no reason you don't own this. Does that make sense? Because you're already willing to drop a whole bunch of money on an excellent game, and this is an excellent game.
Okay. Yep, but I can play
man,
Takinoko, what, 4 or 5 times in the time you play one of those?
Yeah, but would you want to?
I love Takinoko.
I like it too, but I don't think I want to play 5 games
I
of it.
would want to do it 5 times in a row.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas Food Chain Magnate, and the neat thing about Food Chain Magnate is I have a feeling, so the first time I played, I think it was 4 of us. No, it was 3 of us. And 2 out of the 3 were learning. I was one of the learners. And it took us 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
The second time, I taught it to 3 other people. So a 4-player game, and it took us about 3.5 hours.
Okay.
It accelerates, and it accelerates quickly. Once everybody has that light bulb moment, your turns do not take long. Like it has a really good flow to it. I was really impressed by that.
Very cool.
So I think I really think that it's got some staying power, and I can see myself wanting to drop a bunch of money to get a copy for myself. Right now I'm borrowing a copy, but I can see myself wanting to own it. So yeah, I think it's a buy it if you can afford it.
It was one that I was so tempted to pick up just because when it first became available, I was like, well, crap,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm ever going to play it, I've got to pick it up now because I am the supplier in my group. So
Sure, yeah, as am I. I understand.
But I held off, and I'll wait. We'll play a copy of Geekway.
Yeah, for sure. Here's the other thing that I would just like to say. I get that Splatter likes being the quirky company. I get that they enjoy their small print runs. Yeah. But I'm starting to get to the point where I don't care how good a game is, if your components just flat out aren't perfect, it bugs me. And I don't mean perfect like you couldn't have improved it. I mean, look, if you're going to give me square tiles, they should all be the same size.
Yeah.
They should line up and have straight edges such that you can put together a 3x3 square without them constantly jiggling all over the place.
Yeah.
If you have a tile that's supposed to be 3 spaces wide, it shouldn't be 2.5 spaces wide.
Yeah.
Why can Splatter not get this through their skulls? Like, it just makes me crazy. You're going to charge me $150 for a game where I want to sit down with a Dremel and like fix your pieces.
Fix everything.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either. I hate being that guy who complains about components over gameplay. I hate being that guy, but I would. And I would sit there and I'd think, wow, I just dropped $140 on this. And look, I could have kept these tiles out of paper at home.
then I'll tell you right now, if that makes you twitch as much as it makes me twitch, you probably shouldn't buy it, because it's the card quality, like the deck of cards, that the achievements and the rolls or whatever are great. There's nothing wrong with them. But the tiles, all of the tiles are slightly hinky, and I just don't get it.
But that's also the only bad thing I've heard about the game. From however many people you hear talking about it, they either complain about, oh my gosh, it's too much of an investment to play, or it's too much, the tiles. Whatever.
No, I think the gameplay is excellent. Like, it's it is how, if you're going to do a big heavy game, that's how you do it.
Okay.
You keep the downtime fairly minimal. The flow of play is quick and snappy, and you always feel like you understand. The only AP can be a problem if you have AP people, and if those people make you crazy, this is not a great game for those people. I'll tell you that for free. Because if I give Bob over here a hand of 20 cards and tell him he can only play 11 of them, he's going to glaze over and go, well, I don't know.
Yep.
And then the whole game will come to screeching halt. That's the only play-wise problem I see with it.
Yeah. I am AP immune. I play with my wife, so.
I was going to say, by comparison.
Yes.
Sorry, Krenza. Hi.
If she's watching, she should be.
Yeah. You better be, damn it. So, all right, there you go. So, Food Chain Magnet. For me, I think it's a buy it. Unless that price point bothers you. You should at least play it for sure.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah. I definitely would play it. So.
And you will. You will, sir. We will make it happen.
Cool.
Anything else?
The rest of the week, we kind of touched on we hit a couple of Michiganers games. We played Morocco for the first time with 2 players. I'm not going to talk too much about it. I don't think 2 players is where the game is. I think we need the 3, 4, and 5 for it, because it's got that little area, control majority kind of thing going on. And 2 players, we just kind of separated. But it's cool, and I really like it, and it's dry, and it's perfect. We also played Outlawed, the new Green Couch games, coming to Kickstarter here this week, I think, and we got to get a preview out for it. But I've only played it 2-player as well, so I'm not going to really talk about it. But it's a fun little kind of bluffing kind of game that it's real quick, 10 minutes. From Ryan Cowler, who did Jurassic Attack. So excellent. The other big game we played was Agricola. I got Corinza to sit down and play the granddaddy of them all.
That is not the granddaddy of them all. The
granddaddy worker placement. I don't know. I'm not going to go to Kalis. I'm going to say
farming game.
It's a beautiful game.
All right, fine. Yeah, it is. It is.
And everybody knows how to play it. Everybody knows the pitch on Agricola, so I won't bore everybody with it. But I will tell you that after we played it twice. Wow, why I'm getting notifications that I'm late for the Cubist. Let's dismiss that.
Oh, it's because I had a scheduled thing. Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's okay. I will say that we played it once, and I kind of laid it on pretty thick on Corinza and beat her by like 20, something like that.
Oh, wow.
She wanted to get her revenge, and it ended up being the same way. As I was packing it up, she said, whatever happened to that all creatures big and small? So there's our summary of that with her. So I have a feeling that's what I'll be playing next instead of Agricola.
Gotcha. See, so I owned Agricola, loved it, played it, then got relegated to my shelf for a while. And then Caverna happened, and I sold my copy of Agricola with no regrets.
Yeah. Because I didn't like Caverna at all.
Okay. That's fair.
Twice, and I just didn't like it. And it's the same for Fields of Arl. For some reason, I couldn't get into that. I gave my copy of both. So
you like the cards. That's what it is. You like the occupations.
I love
it's the occupation to sell you on the game. I get that. Okay.
And so and I've got the new version too, so it's the streamlined deck.
Okay.
Even better.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you which you have the Mayfair copy.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
I traded
gotcha.
my old Z-Man copy with the cubes for animals at Geekway, and immediately bought the Mayfair one from Miniature Market
Gotcha.
that day. So
I might pick up the Mayfair version with the streamlined deck. Like I could
Mhm.
see and the upgraded bits.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. I like Caverna better.
Yeah, I know.
It's just
And I know a lot of people do.
I think
You know,
you know what
people,
though? I don't.
it's not a
I hated
sandboxing to me.
Agricola.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. I hated Agricola when it first came out, but the reason, well, no, I didn't hate it when it first came out. I got sick of it because the cards seemed so swingy, and
They
it
can
seemed
be.
not all cards are created equal.
Yep.
And it seems like sometimes if people get a specific card combo early, that's the game is already over and everything's done but the crying.
Yep.
And I think that the Caverna fixed that for me because it gave everybody a level playing field and says, "Here's all the stuff.
Yeah.
Make your play."
I can see that. I learned Agricola from a group. I came to my game group late, so I learned it from
Okay.
them, and they had been playing it for 3 years nonstop. And then I
Okay.
became the feeder of new games to them. So that's
Gotcha.
who I learned
Okay.
it from. I learned the hard way that if you don't know those cards, you're not going to be competitive.
Right.
So.
Gotcha. Okay, so let me ask you this: Cubist rating scale, the new version, because the original version of Agricola has been talked to death.
Yeah.
The new version of it, and we'll talk first if you own Agricola already, and secondly if you don't.
Okay. If you own Agricola, there's no need for it unless you just like prettier bits. You like a prettier fold-out board for everything, and it's got those boards that interlock like Caverna does, so it's a lot nicer. It's got a lot nicer presence. We'll say that.
Okay.
But no, play it and then make your decision if you absolutely need it. If you don't own Agricola, buy it and learn it. Play it until you no longer want to play it, and then sell it.
Did they include the solo play in the second edition?
Yes, they did.
Okay.
And it's also got all sorts of fun little variants in there that they've collected from various places.
Okay.
So
that in and of itself sort of sells me on the idea is that if they've created more play styles in that box, I love that idea. I think that's great.
I think what they were saying is I think they tested it wherever you play Agricola Online. I think it's just called Agricola Online or something like that. And so that's how they tested it, and they weeded out cards, by players playing over time and seeing what cards were played, what ones weren't, what worked.
Okay, so they used the same theory that Through the Ages did, because that's how Through the Ages did their second edition too. Is board gaming online stuff. Okay,
and that's what I need. I need to pick that one up too. Thanks for reminding me.
I don't have. You know what? I don't have the second edition, and I'm not sure about upgrading.
I got rid of my first printing, second whatever. I got rid of that one.
I was thinking about doing it. Sorry, I've got my iPad and I'm Googling because that's really good host behavior. I was thinking about it because I like the couple rules changes that have been made, like the idea that you factor in corruption first before you do all your production, I think is wonderful. I like all that. My issue is this. I have the print and play expansion for the first edition rule game that adds more wonders and more leaders in, so that way you don't always have the same wonders and you don't always have the same leaders every game, so there's some variety.
Okay.
And I don't know if that expansion is compatible with the second edition, and I really like that expansion. Like, I'm willing to put up with the rest for that.
I didn't even realize there was an expansion. I've just been playing it on Board Gaming Online all the time. So I see the same things over and over again.
No, Board Gaming Online has that expansion in it.
Oh, do they? Okay.
Yep, it's in there. You just have to you have to check the appropriate box when you create the game, and not everybody does that.
Gotcha. That's a possibility.
But yeah, it's the see what the way that I do this, and this is probably not how you're supposed to, but I don't really care, is I keep the expansion gives you all of the original leaders and wonders also, right? So when you print it out, you're going to get all of them, the stuff in the box and the new stuff.
Okay.
And I have separate decks that sit off to the side. And every time in the regular deck that you shuffle, I flip a leader or wonder, I discard it and replace it with the top from the expansion decks.
Okay.
So that way you don't know exactly what you're going to get until they pop up.
Yeah.
Which I think prevents people from doing overly predictable strategies in it. And I like it a lot that way. So the second edition, I haven't committed yet because I really like it. So,
I haven't either. So too many games.
No such thing, sir. No such thing. All right. So I want to talk about.
Well, he brought props.
Well, I brought a prize, is what I brought.
know.
Here's the prize. All right. So I want to talk about junk art from Pretzel Games, designed by Jay Cormier and Senpung Lim, the excellent gentleman that his son runs the Maple Syrup weekly show, which is excellent. They do a great job. If you haven't checked out Maple Syrup yet, you really should, guys. It is a invaluable resource about game design. Like these guys they really know their stuff, and Sen's such a great guy. Anyway, junk art. So have you played it?
I did. I played it at Gen Con, yes.
Okay.
I played the big giant version, but I played
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So the idea behind it is that it's sort of the typical dexterity game, right? Like it's stack stuff. Here's some weird shaped stuff, stack it, make it tall. That's great. And that doesn't sound particularly compelling. That's been done a number of times. Bausac is the one that always leaps to mind for me. That's the first one I played that was like that. Yeah. And it's been done. What makes junk art really good, I think, is the city cards. So there are cards at every city has a different set of rules. Like this is how you play this city, and this is how you play this city. And so that you basically get like 12 sets of rules in that box. And the idea is that you play a certain number of those sets of rules, and that is your one game. So you'll play that many rounds, and each round is a city with a different set of rules. It works so well. It's so well done. I hadn't really decided how I wanted to speak to it until I watched Shut Up and Sit Down's review of junk art.
Okay.
And they always come at things from a slightly weird sense of humor, stance of things. But at the end of it, they describe junk art as eggs. You can do a lot of things with eggs. And as long as you like eggs, this is the best way to get your eggs, right? Because you have a lot of different ways that you can prepare this. You have all these different cities, which are all different play styles for it. But if you don't like eggs, you're not going to like these eggs either, right? Like there's nothing, like you have to like eggs. But if you like eggs, these are the best eggs that you can get. Yeah. And I absolutely agree with that assessment. If you like dexterity games, if you even like the idea of dexterity games, but maybe you haven't found one that you really liked, junk art is a must-have for your collection. It just is. I think that's the only way that I know how to describe it, is that you have to like eggs, but if you do, you should get junk art. Yep. So it's a
dexterity stacking.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. No, it's just a no-brainer in my book. I think that this is the kind of game that if you like dexterity at all, you need to own. So let's talk about junk art. So on the Cubist rating scale, there is buy it, play it, forget it, or burn it. I'm going to add one and say win it.
Yay!
Okay. So here is the deal. This copy is in the shrink. See, I haven't played it yet. My copy is sitting over there on the shelf that you can't see. This can be your copy of the game. The only way that you can win it, however, is if you are one of the 9 viewers right now.
Uh-oh.
All right. So right now, and I'm going to pick a winner in about the next 5 minutes. So you have to be watching right now. Here's what you have to do. You have to tweet at Cubist Podcast on Twitter, all right? Or you have to email thecubistpodcast@gmail.com. And if you're doing Twitter, you use the hashtag #ILoveMeSomeJunkArt.
You've been listening to too much.
It's Rich's fault. Hey, that's shorter than Rich's, and at least I was really clear on how you spell it. So #ILoveMeSomeJunkArt is your hashtag on Twitter, or if you're emailing thecubistpodcast@gmail.com, put in the subject line #ILoveMeSomeJunkArt, and I will choose one random person from both of those combined. So there you go. That's how you win, is I love me some junk art. Either on Twitter at Cubist Podcast or on email thecubistpodcast@gmail.com. And we'll pick a winner in just a little bit.
Yay.
There you go.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you, Pretzel Games, by the way. Thank you, Pretzel Games, for supplying prize support for the Cubist. Yay.
Yeah.
And it's in a nice wooden box, too, by the way. For those of you that haven't seen the game before, this box is like a weird sort of cardboard sleeve that goes around a nice wooden box with a sliding top. It's actually really slick. Okay. I'm a little bugged that the wooden box doesn't actually say junk art on the sides, so I can't just slide it into the. I know I want to get like a wood burning pen and wood burn it in myself, but then I know that it'll just look like
I wood burned it in by myself.
It'll look like I had a stroke and then I tried to wood burn it in by myself because I am not coordinated at all. But that's it. I want to. I'm just not going to actually do it.
Yeah.
There you
go. Want to hear the wonderful rumor we heard?
Yes.
Junk art and what was the other one? Flick 'em up?
Yes.
So Pretzel Games may be doing like a P500 type of thing for the giant versions.
Ooh.
So I think they said they would start with Flick 'em up is the last I heard. And then they test it out and see what happens.
I cannot decide if I would want to play giant Flick 'em up. Like
it was fun.
Yeah. Okay. See now, giant
guys are like that big, and you.
That's it.
Yeah, it was fun.
I feel like it hurt my hand. Look, giant junk art. I'm all about, right?
Yeah.
I've seen people playing giant Rhino Hero at conventions, and it's wonderful. I love that. Giant flicking. I don't know.
They're good. Don't worry. They're not going to hurt your delicate fingers, and you get used to it after time. You could warm up flicking dice in that other game. I forgot what that one was, where you're attacking each other.
That's fair.
Or something like that.
That's fair. By the way, junk art comes with cards that allow you to add in pieces from Flick 'em Up.
Cool. Yeah.
So you can sort of combine the games.
What was your favorite way to play it?
There is one where you give cards to the other player. I don't remember which city it was, but the one where you have a hand of cards and you give, this is the card you're going to play on your stack this turn.
Yeah.
So you can sort of watch them and be like, hey, what's this? Boom, and kind of be a jerk. Yeah. My girlfriend Molly and I played it and we loved that. We were immediately like, oh, this is amazing. So it just lets you, because you don't ever get to be evil in those dexterity games, right? Like, I mean, unless you're that clod in every game group that accidentally whacks the table, if you're that guy, then nobody likes you. But I mean, otherwise you don't get to do any take that in dexterity. And I think we really enjoyed that.
Yeah. We played, was it Montreal? I think we played. That's the speed one, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, the one where you have to get 10? You add your 10 pieces? Yeah.
Well, you flip it in first person to be able to stack it, and otherwise you just knock it off and go.
Gotcha.
I played that one, and then I think we played Indianapolis too, if I'm not mistaken. So,
of course you did. If you're at Gen Con, you better.
Yeah.
Very good.
That was a lot of fun. And Jay was a lot of fun to talk to. I actually got to meet him there. And Sin, for like a split second, he was like way too busy. He was showing up another game.
Jay is my birthday buddy, so he is automatically as awesome as anybody can be.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's awesome. It sounds like we both played. I have so many more games to talk about because it's been forever since I've done one of these. I could keep going for another hour.
Yeah, Dad.
On just games. But
you got to save some for the next show.
Oh yeah. Trust me, that's not going to be a problem. I have. Holy cow! I'm just looking. I'm looking at the shelf. There's another shelf on the other side.
Oh, okay.
Here,
so were these the IKEA shelves that you just went and looked at, or?
Oh no. These I've had these. These are indeed IKEA though.
Okay.
These are. This shelf used to be the back shelf in the previous video things that I've done.
Yeah.
This is a 5x5, so this is about 6 feet tall by 6 feet wide.
Okay.
And then there's a 4x4 Kallax across from me.
Okay.
And neither one of them is a back shelf anymore. Now they're just shelves because my new apartment has a dedicated gaming space.
Yay!
I know. How weird is that?
And no wonder it's the first thing that's unpacked.
Well, here's the deal. About 2/3 of the boxes that came from my house were these games.
Yeah.
So unpacking them was me doing a service to my lovely girlfriend, getting the boxes out of the way. At least that is what I'm telling everybody, is that I was I was being a hero.
I'll buy that
Yeah.
until she says something 3 weeks from now that nothing else has been unpacked.
Oh God, no. I will be dead if in 3 weeks from now nothing else has been unpacked, for sure. This will never be okay. So, all right. So I'm going to draw the winner in just another minute or so. I'm going to let last minute viewers that may have just jumped on use the hashtag I love me some junk art, or email thecubistpodcast@gmail.com and put I love me some junk art in the subject. We'll see if anybody does either of those. And in the meanwhile, so the main topic for today, and I don't have the music stingers and whatnot quite yet, folks. Hang in there. That's coming. The computer where all of my sound assets is still not quite set up. So, and also one of my 4 gig RAM sticks for that computer fried, apparently.
Ooh.
So yeah, so I lost, it's been running real bad and I didn't know why. So that's it. So anyway, all of my sound assets are gone. So we're doing this instead. So let's talk about our main topic, which is podcasting. It's super meta, right? Like we're going to talk about podcasting.
We're doing a live Google Hangout.
This is Podception right now.
There you go.
But the reason that I wanted to talk about this is because my concern, like the whole reason that the Cubist sort of went on hiatus for so long was, like I was talking before, my seeming need for perfection, my inability to ignore ums and ahs and awkward pauses and mispronunciations and stuff like that. I felt like I had to edit all of that. And so my editing ratio was hovering around 5-1.
Okay.
So I don't know if you think of it that way, but the way that what that translates to, for those of you that don't podcast, is for every minute of content I created, it took me about another 5 minutes to edit it.
Yep. That's about right for everything, I think.
Right. And that's great when you have an extra 10 hours a week floating around that you don't know what to do with.
Yeah. Because
I was recording somewhere to the tune of about, an hour and a half content. My shows were hovering in the 60 to 90 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, so now we're looking at, if it got up to 2 hours of editing, then it would be another 10, or 2 hours of content would be another 10 hours of editing. So realistically, it was becoming a part-time job. And that's not unreasonable, but it was also not tenable for me.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons, Brendan, that I really wanted to have you on the show to talk about this is because the What Did You Play This Week podcast thing is really clean. Like one of the things that I like about it is that it's a very clean, it's well edited. It tells the story. It's scripted and, concise, and you say what you want to say.
Well, thank you.
I really like the show. I always have. And that's even before I met you and had any idea that I liked you as a person. Like, I just remember we talked a little bit on Twitter, and then I started listening, and I was like, oh, I like it. Now, I'm currently about 4.5 kabillion episodes behind on everything because I have had no time to listen to anything.
Yep.
So when people are like, well, you should, I talk about it all the time on my podcast. I want to be like, I love you guys so much. I haven't listened to anything. Like anything. There's exactly 2 podcasts that I'm keeping up on right now. Stuff You Should Know, which has nothing to do with gaming, because I've been listening to that for
Stuff You Should Know.
Exactly. Yeah, and one other, I think it's Welcome to Night Vale. That's the one that I am caught up on. Yeah. That's it. Other than that, I have no time for like a weekly show at this point.
No, Alice is Dead?
I'm bankrolling all of Alice is Dead. Like, I'm waiting to binge listen to all of those, and also the Within the Wires, which is the other one.
See, I haven't seen that one.
I'm ready to binge listen to both.
I quit Night Vale and went to Alice is Dead. So
gotcha. I do like Jessica Nicole quite a bit. So, all right. So
tangent.
What?
No, nothing. I said we'll go off on a tangent here.
Yeah, there you go. All right. So when I said I wanted to talk to you about this specifically, it was because, like I said, I really like your show. I like how clean it is. I like the style.
Thanks.
And I also like the fact that you have just stuck with it through, which I admire so much, because man, have I not,
It's
you know, and I admire that. So what drives you? Like, how do you stay that focused?
you know, it's just become kind of a second nature thing. It's my Sundays. And what I was going to tell you is, if you ever want something to make sure that you're doing your editing, and make sure you get it done as fast as possible, do a weekly and get everything on Sunday, and then put it together on Sunday and release it on Sunday.
Oh,
You'd be good. So I will say the credit for how clean the show is should go to each and every contributor. They edit their own stuff. I don't touch it anymore. I used to edit. I could not do it anymore. I could not sit there and edit everybody's anymore. So that
gotcha. Okay.
that all goes to them. The only thing I've ever asked of our contributors, have a mic and edit it a little bit, make it sound as nice as you would want to listen to. So
have a mic. That should not be a thing you should have to tell people.
It shouldn't, but
yeah, but I get it.
But we kind of built it on, man, I did have a mic. We'll say that. When I started, I had a mic from an old Xbox 360 rap game, and that's what I used. I used a little USB mic, and I sat it in a clean Xbox so it didn't bounce around, and that's how I recorded when I started. So
yeah, I remember doing some Googling and hearing that the Rock Band USB mic that came with the Xbox 360 version of Rock Band was actually not a bad podcasting mic.
They weren't bad mics. So
I just, and now I look back and I'm like, and I still have mine, and I kept it specifically for that reason. Like, if everything goes to hell in a handbasket and all of my stuff explodes, I at least have that, which is
absolutely
scares me a little bit. Oh boy.
But you got to do, I've got that sitting. I've still got that. It wasn't even a Rock Band one. It was the Def Jam one, because I liked the rapping, and that was my karaoke game. So,
gotcha.
But as far as staying focused, it's just something I do. If you were to ask my wife, we've been together. We'll be coming up on 17 years. Our 15-year anniversary is in October. I dive into things head first, and if I'm going to do it, I keep doing it until I just can't do it anymore. That's what I do. And so when we first met, I don't even remember what it was, but then it became like these are just hobbies that I just dive into head first and do this with. And so 5-6 years ago, it became games, and then 2 years ago, it became the podcast. And so we'll see how long it goes.
So it's a personality trait of yours. Okay. All right. See, for me, and this is really hard to describe, so I'm going to pause and try and collect my thoughts and remind everybody that if you use the hashtag I love me some junk art, I'll pull a winner in just a second. So hashtag I love me some junk art, and make sure you talk to Cubist Podcast, at Cubist Podcast with that, and I'll pull a winner in just a second. I don't know if that worked, but here's what I would say. I love discussing games with smart people. I enjoy the conversations. I enjoy, and if I'm being truthful, I have enough ego that I want my opinion to be heard.
Yeah.
Well,
we all have to, or else we wouldn't do this.
Yeah, exactly. Or else why would I bother? So but I think it's the conversation that has always really sold me on the idea of podcasting. That's why even when I first started the Cubist, I always envisioned there being a second person that I would be able to discuss things with, because I don't want to just sit and talk. Like, I've tried doing regular vlogging, and I found it tedious and awful after about 2 weeks, because it was me talking at a computer screen to no one. I felt like I could feel my soul slipping away from my body as I was doing it. Like, it was just, you know what I mean? Like, it just felt draining. I felt like I was talking at nothing. I really did. And I understand it. When I talk to somebody else, then, we can have a conversation, and we can bounce ideas off each other, and we can argue about things when you're clearly wrong and I'm right, or whatever, and all of those are possibilities. That isn't the thing when it's just you shouting at a screen.
Yeah.
So
My thing is, I think I like sharing as much as anything. And it did start out as our podcast started out, well, it started out as a way for me to not type because I hate typing and I hate writing.
Oh, God, yeah.
And so I just talked into a mic for 10, 15, 20 minutes, edit it, put it out, and that was the podcast at that time. Then I started scripting it. And then of course I'm back to typing and I'm talking, and I've just made this all so much worse on me than ever.
Yeah.
With the addition of Corinza, at least I've gotten away from scripting most everything. Her and I are kind of just fly off the seat of our pants, talk about what we talk about. And if you listen, sometimes I know that's annoying, but that's us.
No, you guys have really good chemistry together. Like, I mean, having now played games with you and then also listened to the show, you guys, I mean, of course you've been together for 17 years and you're going to be together for at least 17 more. I mean, you guys are awesome together, and it shows really easily. So I get that. Molly is terrified of the idea of being on camera or on a microphone. I mean, we did a little bit with the one episode of the Cubist, and that's because it was audio. That was fine. But I don't think I'm ever going to get her on a camera with me. I just don't think that.
With Corinza, she's my extrovert. I'm the introvert in the family. So a year ago, I never would have been on camera doing this. So
I gotcha.
It's just the way.
Well, a year ago, you had the epic beard.
Yes.
And now it's gone, and your face is mostly naked, and it's weird.
It's coming back, and we'll be confused again. So.
Okay, yeah. For the record, I'm sorry. We're gonna go up on this tangent briefly. The reason that Brandon Kemp no longer has a beard is my fault, and I'm really sorry about that. I take full credit. We were at Geekway, and one of Brandon's very drunk friends kept calling me Brandon while I had my luchador mask on at Battling Tops, and he was convinced that I was Brandon, and then I told him otherwise, and then he said it again, and then I told him otherwise, and then I think Corinza tried to correct him.
Yeah.
She got involved, which was the only way that was going to stop.
Yeah, and then I had a guy who knew you come up and call me an asshole. Come up and call me an asshole because I wasn't answering to Bill Corey.
Outstanding. Yes, and so because my beard is new, Brandon took the bullet and got rid of his. That's really what happened. Because
I shaved it because I was thinking, I'm going to Gen Con. I'm going to look presentable. I'm going to do this professionally, and now I just want my beard back. So
I've never had one before this one. This is the first ever. I like it. So
it's all right. Coming in nicely.
We are so not talking about podcasts. This is terrible.
Go ahead.
All I was going to say is, if you're thinking about podcasting, and I'm going to just kind of say the couple of things that popped into my head. Chaz Marler, Pair of Dice Paradise, contributor to the Dice Tower, all around wonderful human being. I told him once the saying, because I work in sound. For those of you that don't know, I own my own DJ business. That's how I make my honest dollar. Ha ha ha. And the saying that sound guys have always used as far back as I can remember is that ears don't blink. You can get away with a lot visually because people blink and their eyes won't always focus on that thing that may have just gone wrong. You know what I mean? And so you can get away with a lot of stuff video. Audio, if the audio sucks, everyone will notice and everyone will give you garbage about it. Like no one will complain if you wear an ugly shirt, but everyone will complain if your mic is too loud.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so I think the thing that if you are thinking about podcasting, the first thing I would say is do it because there's no reason not to.
Exactly.
It's reasonably cheap in the grand scheme of things as far as hobbies go, especially compared to this. Podcasting is really cheap, right? Like,
yes, it is.
I mean, yeah, comparatively. You should absolutely, and there's even free options. Spreaker.com is a fine way to throw out a podcast and get on with it. You can do something like we're doing right now on YouTube.
Yeah.
At least this week you can. I don't know. Stupid YouTube.
We'll figure that out later.
But there's no reason you can't do this. Having said that, you also don't try to hold yourself to an unrealistic expectation either. It's not going to be perfect. It's not even going to be good probably the first couple times you do it, right? Like it's going to be a mess. but it's going to be your mess. And it's the only way that you get better is by doing it. It totally is.
Yeah.
And screw the gear. You don't need gear.
Well, you kind of do. You want a mic and you want a computer to edit. That's the only gear you need. And
yes. Okay. So you need that kind of gear. But I mean, you don't need, to get started, you don't need a shock mounted swing arm thing. And, you don't need a pop filter, throw an old sock over your microphone. You don't need, no, I'm serious. You can get away with a pair of pantyhose and get rid of most of the garbage that you have sound wise. It can be so easy.
Yep.
It's so dumb. I don't know. It's so easy to get inside your own head. So
it's just like anything else we do as we'll call us geeks. You got to dive in though. You can't just half step. You've got to have that boom. You've got to have. Now you don't have to.
No, you don't.
Anyway,
what you have to do is you have to actually do it.
Yes.
And once you do it, it's fun.
Yep.
As long as you don't hold yourself to a standard.
It can be a lot of fun. It can be aggravating as all get out too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
As you well know.
Oh. So ladies and gentlemen, you may have heard Brandon Kemp say the word asshole a few minutes ago. I'm just warning you right now that we're not going to be we will try to avoid the word that rhymes with duck. But other than that, I don't know. You're good.
Anybody?
I don't care even a little bit.
I don't even remember what I said it for. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But you know what I do know?
What do you know?
It's time to give away a game.
Are you going to give away a game?
I'm going to give away this copy of Junk Art to one of the lovely listeners, viewers.
Well, they're listening too.
Sure. Yes, because ears don't blink. And also hips don't lie. Thank you, Cardboard Jungle, Anthony. We really appreciate that. All right. I know. Hey, you know what? Somebody had to make that joke. It might as well have been him. And I have generated a random number through Dicenomicon. See that number 4 right there? Can you see it? That 4 tells me that the 4th hashtag down on Twitter was my big winner. And according to my news feed, let's see, there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, and the 4th is Todd Kauk. Todd Kauk. Is it Kauk?
I don't know. I'm just doing it like the Dukes of Dice. Kauk.
Well, there you go. Todd, you have won yourself a brand new copy of Junk Art. So send me a email, thecubistpodcast@gmail.com with your shipping info, and I will chuck this in a box and get it sent off to you. Toot sweet. So congratulations. Very cool.
Yep. But I will warn you, he is Canadian. I'll help out if need be.
Well, that's lovely of you. Thank you. Canadians, why would you do that to me? Man. We actually have more stuff to give away next week. So here's a teaser for those of you that watched this week. I happened across, if those of you, we talked about an Ube game before. What is the first Ube game you ever played?
Me?
Yeah.
The first two, Bonanza.
Exactly. I found 2 in-shrink expansions for Bonanza.
Okay.
Highbone and La Isla Bonita.
Ooh.
I have both of those in shrink. These are the old Amigo versions that I picked up when I went to Essenspiel forever ago.
Wow. And you never opened them?
I had 2 copies of both. I picked them up because I thought somebody else would want them, and then I realized that I've been shuffling them from place to place. So I have an in-shrink copy of Highbone and an in-shrink copy of La Isla Bonita, both the German versions, but the English rules are really easy to come by, that I will be giving away next week on the same show. So for those of you that listen or watched, man, I'm never going to get used to that. For those of you viewing, tune in next week. And if I at any point in time see 50 viewers live next week, I will add another unnamed prize. I've got something else lurking around that I'll chuck into the mix. And it'll be a big one, something that you actually want to own. And actually, you know what? Let's tease it. Let's tease it right now.
Ooh, Star Trek Catan.
I have a copy of Star Trek Catan in the shrink that I will give away next week if we get to 50 live viewers, 50. So there you go. Also in shrink. All right. This has been a lot of fun. I miss doing this, Brandon.
This is fun.
This is fun. I love this. We're going to do more of these next week. And I don't know if are you going to be back next week?
I will be back if you'll have me next week.
I will have you
to check the softball schedule and let you know, but I should be good.
Jock. No, I'm kidding.
No, not me. It's my daughter.
Oh, that's right.
I went to practice on Sunday. If you didn't listen to this week's podcast yet, which we know you haven't yet.
We know I have not.
Yes. Complained about being horribly out of shape, and I practiced with them, so I'm in no shape to be playing softball.
My knees decided about 5-6 years ago that I was done playing softball. I ran a team for almost 10 years.
Yeah.
And then my knees were like, nope, you have hurt us too many times. You are not doing this to us again.
You are done.
You are done.
Yep. No. I would love to be on the Cubist show.
You absolutely will be next week, and I might even have another person on.
Oh my gosh.
Especially if I can make sure that this Hangouts on Air thing is still a thing.
We'll figure it out, and I can help you with a little bit of other things like streaming it directly through YouTube. Maybe we can have a chat window going. All sorts.
I would love that. I feel like I used to be way smarter about this stuff than I am now.
I've looked up these things just because I keep thinking I'm going to do one of these days, and I never do. So
well, now you are doing one of these things one of these days. See,
one of these days has now happened.
One of these days has now happened. You know what else has to happen?
Oh God, what?
The rapid fire segment. I can't do the Cubist without rapid fire.
Yes, you warned me of this.
I did. All right.
Luckily, I'm having root beer tonight instead of whiskey.
Instead of whiskey. Oh, the infamous whiskey Google Hangout incident of 2015. That was last year, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yes, it shall not be talked about.
I think it already has been talked about.
Oh, I'm sure it has been.
Okay. My prep has not been particularly thorough for this, so these rapid fire questions are going to be a little bit less rapid than usual. But Brandon Kemp,
good.
Are you ready?
I don't know. There's no music telling me I'm ready.
There is no music. There's not. Stop picking on my lack of assets. This is terrible.
I'm ready when you are, Bill.
All right. Brandon Kemp?
Yes, sir.
Here we go. A novel you would like to live in.
Oh, Lord have mercy. I could give you one I don't want to live in. I would love to live in... Oh, see, and I can't even say that. How about The Hobbit?
The Hobbit. There you go.
That would be a lot of fun and a lot of stress.
Your favorite game designed by a German?
I don't know who's German. We'll go Power Grid.
There you go. Yes, he is German. Well done.
Yes.
well done. A city that should be in junk art, but isn't.
We're going to go with Kansas City.
There you go. Very good. Your favorite game for two people?
Favorite game for two people would have to be right now.
Classic rapid fire stalling techniques.
Oh, good gosh. Let's go with Agricola, All Creatures Big and Small. We do love that one.
There you go. And your favorite epic game?
Favorite epic game? We're going to probably go with the only real epic game that I've ever been involved with, and that's just because it took us 8 hours to play it. And that would be the Game of Thrones 2nd edition from Fantasy Flight Games, which should never take 8 hours. But it did, and we had a buttload of fun because we were drinking, we were eating. The board probably is stuck together. I haven't taken it out since.
Well done. That was the least rapid fire I think that we have ever done in the history of the Cubist. But you know what? Everything else about this first relaunch episode has been slightly hinky, so I see no reason why that shouldn't have been a little clunky as well.
It was good, Bill. You did a good job.
Brandon Kemp, you are my hero. Thank you so much for writing in and making this episode so much fun. This has been a blast.
It has been a really good time, and anytime you want me on, or you want to just talk, or you want to hang out and kick my butt in 6 Nimpt, I'll happily do it.
Take a goddamn card. All right. Brandon, where do people find stuff about you?
You can find stuff about me on the Twitters, as Mason would say. I am on the Twitters at Vaca, VACABCK. Our podcast, the What Did You Play This Week podcast, has a wonderful acronym. You can find us on Twitter at WDYPTW. Basically, anywhere you want to find me, just find me at VACABCK or WDYPTW. And listen
Perfect.
to our podcast.
For the record, you commented on something on Twitter that Molly, my girlfriend, had been tagged in, and she had had a couple of adult beverages that night. And she's like, "Who is this?" And I said, "What? Something podcast." And I said, "What did you play this week?" Yeah. I don't know. It's a bunch of letters. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. We always get grief about that, but it's so easy to say. WDYPTW. Perfect.
No,
it is.
Not even on. I disagree with every portion of your premise there, but there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching Cubist 2.0 episode 1. This has been a lot of fun. Don't forget, follow on Twitter at Cubist Podcast. If you have any questions or comments for the show, Todd, you better email me. The email is thecubistpodcast@gmail.com. I can't even say Gmail. This is the kind of day I've had. thecubistpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us, and we will catch you all again next week. Take it easy. Be good.
Have a good one.